Hello and welcome to Top of Mind Florida. Michael Williams.
And I'm Brian Crowley.
And we have with us Urban League of Palm Beach County President and CEO Patrick Franklin. Very, very thankful you're with us today.
Absolutely.
Exactly. All three of us like to ride bicycles. Some of us get cramps in our legs when they do it, but
and some don't because they don't do 35 miles with their buddy who's getting a cramp.
35 miles is a little bit too much for me
Yeah.
in one sitting.
We're talking about cycling because you came to this podcast, a message for cyclists and motorists.
Yeah, I was crossing a two-way street and I had a car that almost took me out. I mean, did not see me. I'm in the crosswalk. I'm where I'm supposed to be, and they just ran through me. I don't know how I got across. I really don't. An angel pulled me across, and that's all I can say. Because I looked at the car, and the car was bearing down on me, and I'm going, oh, heck, is this real? And I just skirted across, and cars stopped all around me because they knew that this was going to be a disaster.
well, the good news is that you're here.
I'm here.
And
now, I don't know if your wife's as happy as we are, but
when I talked to her shortly after, and she's out of town, and I go, a car almost hit me. She goes, where were you? I said, in the crosswalk. Where were you? I was in the crosswalk. I was crossing the street. But now, I guess I'm going to have to get off my bike and walk it across next time I cross the street. I don't know.
Well, it's once again a reminder in ever heavily populated South Florida, please, drivers, cyclists.
Beware.
Beware and have respect for each other.
Yeah.
To say we are happy you're with us as a guest takes on whole new meaning right now.
Happy to be here.
We're thrilled you're here as a guest. Take it away, Brian.
So what's the big issue facing the Urban League right now?
Defunding, refunding, chaos, unknown, uncertainty. That's where it's been for the past 6 months, nonstop. I could not believe that I've closed 3 offices of the Urban League, June, July, and August, 3 different offices. And we were defunded for a federal program, a CSEP program, senior jobs, that we've been doing for 8 years in Broward County and in Miami-Dade, 2 separate offices that we only do 1 program each, the senior jobs, to bring seniors back into the job market. Very successful program, been going on since 1965 across the country. Locally, AARP is our provider here in Palm Beach County. I was given 2 slots in Broward and Miami-Dade from the Department of Labor. We were told as early as February, we're not going to be funded after June. And we kept going. June 30th came around, AARP closed their doors here for that program. We kept going. The National Urban League funded us in July and August to keep the program going because it's a great program. 8 other urban leagues across the country do this program. And we're talking 225 seniors that we bring back to the job market that depend upon us to make ends meet. I had 10 staffers, 2 locations. We closed 1 in Broward in July, 1 at the end of August. I got a call last week. We're going to reopen the Miami office. The funds were released. Why? I have no idea. This is after I closed the office, laid off staff a month ago, gave all the furnishings and things away, file cabinets, et cetera, to another nonprofit in Miami. And yesterday I went and bought new furniture to go back into this location. I had to rehire my staff to come back. It's the chaos, it's the knee-jerk, it's the unknown that's constantly being in the nonprofit arena right now. This is just from the federal level. Last year it was the state level. And this is what we're gyrating back and forth on nonstop. We're dealing with clients, we're dealing with staff, we're dealing with a whole lot of different things in this community that a lot of local people just don't understand. Yes, it's hitting home right here. All these federal cuts. And now the government shut down. I hope we get the government checks of funding that's paid that they said they're going to do. So it's just chaotic.
And no rhyme or reason in your mind?
None whatsoever. It's not based on performance. It's not based on delivery or anything. It's just based on, let me say, let's cut this today.
What's the solution?
Stability somewhere. Somewhere leadership has to come through somewhere in this government that we have. At the federal level and at the state level, we have to have some type of leadership that's going to provide what the people need. We're not getting that right now.
Talk about that disconnect.
I don't think they understand that when you defund or stop funding a federal program that so many constituents will rely on, what the effect is. It's like gears. You turn one little gear here and it's going to turn 5 or 6 all the way down here. They don't see that. They don't see the end result of all these little petty cuts and all these different things, how it's affecting the everyday person on the ground. We do, as the Urban League, we see that each and every day.
DOGE is great to talk about for some who are pushing it, not so much on the bottom end.
No, I still don't understand the final impact of DOGE. We say one thing over here. Okay, give us something to talk about. Give us something that said that we did wrong. Don't just hold it into limbo. Oh, we found something. Oh, what'd you find? Oh, we'll tell you next month. Okay, and when we tell you, what are we going to do about it?
What about from the counties? Are you,
Haven't heard anything yet from
cutting?
the county yet, but the county has cut back a lot in the nonprofit arena, especially in their community services area. They've cut back a lot. And I think that's where DOGE for the state is going to zero in on, I believe.
So if the Urban League went away tomorrow, what's the impact?
18,000 people we serve on an annual basis, 18,000 constituents. You're looking at 600, 700, 800 first-time homeowners that won't have the opportunity to become a homeowner or won't engage in the process. You're talking about youth, several thousand youth that won't have a place to go in school, after school programming. You're talking about community programs that we run in conjunction with WPTV, in conjunction with other providers, Children's Services Council, United Way, Community Foundation. All these are providers that we've been in this game for 53 years here in Palm Beach County.
What is the amount of money spent on that? What's the economic return of having those programs? We talk about the cuts, but what do they return to the economy by having the money you spend? So what do you spend? What's the return?
We spend approximately $4.8 million a year. We have a budget of 5.1 and we spend about 4.8 on programs and services.
And what do you estimate the return on that 4.8 is? Because then those seniors have jobs.
I would have to say it's at least 4 times. Mm-hmm. It's at least 4. We haven't had a study because we can't afford to do that to understand what the financial impact would be. But I would say it had to be 4 times because I'm not only looking at the salaries of the jobs that we provide, 36 employees, and serving 18,000 people. Looking at all that impact, it has to be a much larger financial gain than $5 million a year.
How much do private donations?
We take in about 30% of our budget is private donations. And it has to be more now. Since government's cutting back, corporations are cutting back right now because they are following a different mandate. Any organization that has anything to do with equity, equality, empowerment, any of those key buzzwords that go out there that said you are a woke organization, you're a DEI organization, we get classified in so many different areas. They want to say, we're still with you, but don't mention our name. Don't put us in the front. We're still behind, but let us stay behind the curtain, okay? So when you see those type of environments, and that's changing. Our corporate donors, of which we don't have many corporate donors here in Palm Beach County because we're not corporate driven here, basically. Once you get past the FPLs and big corporations like that, there aren't that many smaller ones. You know, the one thing that we have to rely on now is how do we get into this Wall Street of the South here in West Palm Beach and Palm Beach County? How do we engage those individuals to say, hey, look, you live in this community. You need to support those who provide services and programs in this community.
Where are you worried we're headed?
In the wrong direction. Absolutely in the wrong direction. We are divided more than ever. The gap between the haves and the have-nots are the largest ever in recorded history. And I'm talking to people who are W-2 wage earners, the people who go to work each and every day, who when they get a check on a Friday, have no idea where that dollar went on Monday morning. Okay? Those are people that I'm concerned about. And then we see this over-the-top wealth right now. Over-the-top wealth with billionaires. We're talking about a trillionaire right now. Okay? We talk about all the billionaires and millionaires that the person who goes to work every day and getting that paycheck, they don't care what the stock market is doing. They have no idea. They're not invested in the stock market. Not today, not yesterday, and not tomorrow. They may have a 401k, but they dip into it whenever they need a little extra cash. So at the end of the day, it's not that much in there. There have been many studies that say that the average black family right now has somewhere between $5,000 to $7,000 of wealth. That's it.
This is nationwide.
Nationwide.
Yeah.
Nationwide. The average black family, $5,000 to $7,000 of wealth. Okay? So when you look at that and look at the disparity between the haves and the have-nots, we're talking about with the new administration coming in with the big, beautiful bill with health care coverage that the Democrats are fighting for right now, that gap, when it comes in with higher increases for health benefits, man, I don't know what the real number is, but I know it's not going to be the same, okay? And when we've cut people off of Medicare and raising the benefit on those areas, where do we go from here? Medicaid. Where do we go from here? You know, and understand that people are hurting out here, and that we cannot look at a group that's well off and compare them to someone else that's struggling. When we look at housing here in Palm Beach County, I have probably a third of my staff now that lives outside of Palm Beach County. Because they can't afford to live here. So they drive in from Martin County, drive in from St. Lucie County, drive in from Indian River County into Palm Beach County every day. That number's going to grow.
Well, it's already become a problem for the county. I mean, there was, I don't know where they went with this plan, but there was talk about having a bus go from Port St. Lucie
I heard that.
to downtown West Palm Beach to
that.
transport workers, and it
What
was going to
happened
be
to
an
that?
express bus. It was supposed to be an express bus that was going to do that. I don't know what happened to it, but the fact that they even were thinking that really underlined what you're saying, the shortage of housing for workers. And, you know, this idea of building a luxury condo and having 10 units in a 100-unit condo that are workforce housing, I don't even
No, I think the developers have found the loopholes and have found a way to say, I'll make a donation over here. I'm not going to put those affordable units in my development right here. They're working towards that end. Absolutely.
You've been a Palm Beacher for a long time. IBM for many years. Urban League.
Motorola.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were an IBM.
No,
you were an
Motorola.
IBM land.
Motorola.
Down, you were a
Down in
Motorola guy.
Boca.
Oh, now you really did.
I've been here since '88, so 37 years. And
Forgive me, all Motorola vets.
we
I was talking about IBM the other day. I
the
was thinking
change has come, but just talking about that. When I came here, you had IBM, you had Motorola, you had Pratt & Whitney, you had
RCA,
you had ADT, you had all these companies that were here, gone, other than Pratt.
But
most of Pratt left.
Yeah.
And most of Pratt ended up out. But my question to you, too, is as you see the evolution, people keep saying it again and again and again. We're hollowing out the workforce that makes Palm Beach County run. When you talk and you have a voice that is respectfully heard around this county, people aren't getting the message because it keeps happening.
I think our skilled workforce is what we are losing very much so. If these ICE raids continue, and folks, look, it's not what you see on TV. It's here. It's here in Palm Beach County. It's happening. You just don't see it. Okay, I had one of my handyman who does a lot of work at the Urban League, at our townhomes and at the Urban League. He sent one of his workers to Home Depot to get extra gallon of paint a couple weeks ago. Big mistake. Got picked up by ICE at Home Depot, right here in Palm Beach County. Okay, and he was so upset. He came to tell me, and he says, I got to tell his wife. I made a mistake. I sent him to Home Depot to get some paint for this job.
Patrick, there will be people, maybe more than a few, watching this podcast that said if he was here illegally, that's the way it is. And so what do you say to them?
I'm saying that we need to have an effective immigration policy that's in place so that those who can come in, look, a lot of our workers here right now, all of our people who are putting that new roof on your home, all of our landscapers, all those road builders, all those construction workers that are building these buildings, they don't look like us, okay? And at the same time, they're skilled. They have gained skills that are essential to the well-being of this community and communities throughout this country. Find a way to let those people stay here and work, because we wipe that out. If we take the workers out of here, we're talking about a loss of skill-based workers. It's going to cost you 3 times your fee right now to have your yard cut. It's going to cost that new roof 2.5 times more to put that new roof, and longer, not short, longer period of time to do that. Those new homes being built, it's going to take a lot. It's going to cost more to build those homes. So our costs are going to rise. So let's figure out a way of how to do it right, effectively, because we can't afford to lose these skilled workers that are in place for years. They're not criminals. They're workers.
Well, the argument is that those jobs are going to go to young Americans.
I don't know too many young Americans that are ready to go out there in that sun here in South Florida and be out there and do the job, because I really feel if they were, they would have been doing it.
Sure.
Okay? They would have been doing it for a long period of time. My father was a bricklayer. Mm-hmm. His father was a bricklayer. Different times, okay? Those skilled laborers are depleting in a lot of different areas, and we need to be mindful of that. We're not sending our kids to trade school the way we should be right now, to learn how to use their hands and their minds of the gifts that they have right now.
Patrick, all of this, you talk at every election cycle about the get out the vote effort. How is all of this impacting your ability to have get out the vote efforts in 2026? And as you put your pulse on the temperature of the community, your thoughts there?
I think that in 2024, we were handcuffed with our ability to be a third-party registrant, which we have been for many years, the Urban League and many other organizations. The penalties and fines and restrictions that were placed on third-party registrants here in the state of Florida. If you sign up one person with the wrong name or didn't turn the ballot in, and you can only do a handful, I used to do stacks of ballots at a time. I used to have people that would drop their mail-in ballot at the Urban League in the box, and we bring it to the supervisor of elections office. If I did that last year, I would be fined a hefty fine to do that, because we were a trusted community drop-off point, even though we weren't, but people would say, I've been dropping my ballot here at the Urban League for years, and we would take it to the ballot box form. We couldn't do that no more. The restrictions were very heavily defined this year, and I expect even in the midterm it's going to be even more stringent on what we can and cannot do to keep organizations like the Urban League out of the mix, okay? They don't want more registrants or people to sign up to be eligible. My campaign, honestly, Michael, I would love to see, how do I get that 70% of voters who are registered to engage, who don't engage, with these 20% turnouts of registered voters, and we leave an 80% on the table? How do we get that group to engage? And with the false information and the campaigns that were run on social media, on factors outside this country that were infiltrated the Black community, infiltrated with messaging and things like this. You didn't have to vote. Your vote doesn't count, okay? They don't want you to vote, so don't vote. Do something else that day. Or election day they gave the wrong date, and people followed it, okay? So we have a big issue right now of convincing those young voters and older voters that it's time for you to engage now. How do we get the engagement factor up at a level that's going to make a difference? Not every 4 years that we go up to 72% or 74% because of the presidential election, but that midterm is so vital.
What are you optimistic about?
I'm optimistic that everything's on a cycle. It will come up, okay? It has to come up. I'm an engineer by trade. everything to me is ones and zeros and cycles, right? And it will come up. What I'm worried about it, are we prepared as it comes back up the other way? Are we prepared to make a difference? Are we prepared to make a change? Are we ready to make a change when it's our time? Okay, that's different from the time that's in office right now.
But are we forever resigned to this tug of war between our time, your time versus my time? That's this endless cycle.
I just wish, Michael, that people of right mind would say enough of this divisiveness, enough of this. Nobody's at the table right now. Nobody. They can't even look at each other. They can't even have a conversation. Gone are those days where it says, we can fight during the day on the floor, and then we can have dinner at night and drinks. Those days are long gone. But they need to come back. They need to come back in a way that's going to benefit everyone, not just those who are in your boat, okay? Because, look, there's a lot of people out there going, hey, what about me? And they're going, I really don't care.
Patrick Franklin, President, CEO of the Urban League of Palm Beach County. As always, we appreciate your perspective. Any quick final thought?
The sun's going to rise tomorrow, and we need to be mindful of what's going on. Take a look at what's in your best interest, and if it's not clear to you, educate yourself on the issues that are out there right now. And if what's going on is not in your best interest, make a phone call. Make a phone call to your elected official and say, I'm not in favor of that. Or I would like you to consider the option that benefits me and my family.
Well, welcome back to Top of Mind, Florida.
Welcome to you, sir. Interesting listening to Patrick Franklin. Thoughts?
Well, it's one of those things where you have to think about, these Florida Doge efforts to reduce taxes or reduce spending in the counties around the state, especially, oddly enough, blue counties and blue cities, and other cuts that are taking place. You have to understand the impact first. It's one thing to go after, quote, woke money or DEI money or whatever, but what services are being provided? What impact are you having on the community? You may ultimately decide after doing the research that, you want to cut that funding, but unfortunately, too much of it is just knee-jerk, and it doesn't look at the impact it may be having on people who desperately need those services.
Yeah, we talk about all of these things, but when you start really peeling the onion back to people trying to make a living, trying to make ends meet, and in doing so, contributing to the community, it changes the dynamic when you start putting real faces in front of it.
And the lack of in low-income housing in Palm Beach County, Martin County, Dade County, Broward County, all 67 counties in the state pretty much, those are government decisions. Those are elected official decisions, where they could be doing more to require developers to create housing for middle-class homes as well, and they don't do it. We're into this luxury housing thing now that is pushing people out of neighborhoods, and it's not working.
You consistently, in all the years I've known you, you come back to one thing that you say is as much of an absolute as there can be in politics, and that's always comes back to the economy. And listening to you, Brian, it puts me to mind of something Patrick Franklin said. When we don't have the workers to put that roof on or to build the roads or do the jobs that traditionally in the last several generations, Americans don't want to do that much. As we see that lag effect become very real, kind of goes back to your thesis and your bedrock belief that one way or the other, people will be making decisions come election time, especially as we look to midterms next year, gubernatorial race here, on economy.
Yeah, the economy is always number one. There may be other issues that are close number twos, close number threes, but the economy generally is number one. If people are feeling good about themselves, they tend to support incumbents. If they're not feeling good about themselves, they start to second-guess the incumbents. Doesn't necessarily mean they eliminate them, but they got to be feeling like there's some potential growth for them in the future. And right now, for an awful lot of working-class people in Florida, they're not feeling that. They're feeling the pinch.
You were on the beat a long time, and you've always kept up with what's going on your old beat in Tallahassee. When did you begin to see something else that Patrick Franklin, Urban League's president and CEO of Palm Beach County, for anybody just joining us late on the podcast, but when did you begin to see the breakdown of the ability to say, listen, I may disagree with you legislatively, but I respect you and I respect that we can have a debate. When did you believe that began to pick up speed?
Well, I think, some of it began when Jeb Bush was governor. He wanted to be a strong governor who was going to have his way, and he exercised authority, much as we often see today with Ron DeSantis. And another huge change we had, back then we had 6 elected cabinet officers. We reduced it to 3. Voters agreed to reduce it to 3, and we also reduced their amount of power and gave the governor more power. So we created a strong governor system. Historically, we had been opposed to a strong governor system. It was a result of post-Civil War politics and the feds taking over the southern states for a few years. So there was this idea of having weak governors, and that was common throughout the South. And that changed, and Jeb Bush took full advantage of that, and it created a model for future governors. And Ron DeSantis has become probably the strongest, whether you agree or disagree with his policies, the strongest governor we've had in Tallahassee, because basically he tells everybody it's going to be my way or the highway.
Mm-hmm. Strongest governor ever, in your opinion?
One of the strongest ever.
Yeah.
We've had governors that were strong historically, but I would say in recent times, in the last 30 years or so, Ron DeSantis and Jeb Bush were probably the 2 strongest governors.
For you who might wonder where they come up with the name Top of Mind Florida, we always used to kid because I'd ask Brian at the end of a broadcast or ask a guest, because routinely people say, there's one more thing I wish I brought up. So I'd start saying, well, what else is top of mind? Thus the name Top of Mind Florida. So my friend of long standing, what else is top of mind for you this day?
Well, mostly, can I go back to Switzerland anytime soon? Me talking about going back to Europe. There's somebody over there that's laughing at my accent. I don't quite understand what that's all about.
We would never do that. No.
You notice I changed accents. I went Italian.
It was so subtle. I hardly caught it. Yes, he is a serious journalist of decades standing. This is the Brian After Hours.
I think that I think top of mind for me is going to remain for now. It's going to, a lot of it, and we're going to talk about it in one of our upcoming podcasts, is healthcare in this state and in the country. We have a lot of big healthcare issues. I've had, relatives that have been involved intensely in healthcare the last few years, and I've seen the flaws, and it's rather disturbing. And I think we need to have more oversight of some of our healthcare that we have in the state. I think we need to do a much better job of bringing people into the state who are highly competent professionals at all levels. I'm not talking just doctors, at all levels, up and down. And I think we need to take a hard look at some of these hedge funds and giant corporations that now own almost everything that's medicine today, because it's created a lot of changes that I have found often lead to medical mistakes. And it's very concerning.
And Florida, with our senior populations, the litmus test for how all of this plays out. This is far from academic here in Florida.
We have an elder care crisis on the way, and it's going to be here sooner rather than later.
Brian, as always, appreciate it. Want to end on our optimistic note. We enjoy having everybody aboard for Top of Mind Florida. It's really fun. We're 20 plus episodes now, and really the mix of guests is a lot of fun. From serious, we have or will talk about healthcare, music, rocket engineers recently, community leaders like Patrick Franklin, elected leaders. It's really been a lot of fun.
It's been fantastic. We've had some great guests. Looking forward to the future guests, and some great reaction from the people who are either watching or listening to the podcast. So
And
it's
on that
been wonderful.
Yeah, and on that point, we mostly do thank everybody who's joining us, and we hope we'll continue to, for a great place to come together for conversation, to hear a variety of views across the spectrum. Right. And
if you haven't subscribed, please do. What's the matter with you, huh?